It was 53 days ago where the Trump regime said they would do 90 deals in 90 days in their trade war against the world, where they tariffed every single country. Just you wait. Like 2 weeks ago, Howard Lutnick said, "I spoke at the U.S.-India Strategic Partnership Forum Annual Leadership Summit tonight. We have a great relationship between our countries." To date, they have done 0 deals in 90 days, and it seems like every 2 weeks they say we're about to get a big one done.
Trump thought tariffs would make America great again. But what if they've done the opposite? World leaders, from Japan to the EU, even Australia, are uniting against him, demanding no rollback, no deal. So, how did Trump's tough guy trade policies end up cornering the U.S. instead? Stick around to find out why countries are calling him unreliable and how they're teaming up to fight back. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now, back to the video.
The US and the European Union, they're very close, the United States and you name the country. And then when you actually look at what's going on in those countries, I'm optimistic for a trade deal soon that will benefit both nations. How many times have you heard the US and India is about to get that deal done? The US and Japan about to get a deal done. They're saying things like, we don't really even know what the Trump regime is asking us to do, that the Trump regime's policies are incoherent and it's unclear what they're even trying to accomplish.
What happens when a self-proclaimed dealmaker makes everyone mad? Enter Trump's tariffs. Back in 2018, Trump rolled out a bold plan to slap tariffs on imports as part of his America First mantra. The big idea? Protect American jobs and industries while pressuring other nations to play by his rules. He pitched himself as the tough negotiator who couldn't lose. But instead of bowing down, countries took one look at his strategy and joined forces to push back. Think of it like an episode of International Survivor, where nobody wanted to be on Trump's team. Japanese leaders were among the first to speak up. Trump's threat of a 25% tariff on their auto imports sent shockwaves through Japan, a country that sort of invented the reliable car. Toyota, Honda, you name it, Trump had them all in his sights. Japan, however, wasn't about to take this lightly. Diplomats repeatedly warned the U.S. that this move would harm global trade. In response, Trump shrugged, doubling down with vague promises of making trade deals great. Japan's response? Picture them rolling their eyes, saying, "You can't bully us into selling you Toyotas." And then there was India. Oh, India had plenty to say. Trump picked a fight on multiple fronts, from trade conditions to changes in policies that impacted Indian students and workers.
I'm noticing, though, how the world is uniting against Donald Trump in these trade wars. Then Donald Trump will go on social media in a panic rage post, or he'll give some deranged speech and he'll say, "I'm raising the tariffs from 25% to 50% on aluminum and steel."
This wasn't just about steel or soybeans anymore. It felt personal. A top Indian official publicly hinted that India would wait for Trump to stop stirring the pot before seriously engaging. It was like saying, "We'll take your offer seriously, as soon as pigs fly." The European Union wasn't any more impressed. Trump escalated tariff threats on steel and aluminum, to which the EU calmly but firmly called for free trade. The EU tried to keep it professional, but Trump acted like a kid hosting a lightsaber duel at recess, flipping policies without clear direction. While world leaders sought dialogue, Trump amped up the chaos, leaving the EU to think, can we negotiate with literally anyone else? One by one, countries started linking arms, frustrated by Trump's unpredictability. This wasn't a chessboard anymore. It was an international dodgeball game, and Trump's tariffs turned him into the lone target. And wait until you hear what these countries actually thought of his deal-making. Spoiler, it's not great. Trump called himself the ultimate deal maker, but his trade tactics left the world asking, what deal? Take the Trans-Pacific Partnership, for example. The US had spent years crafting this massive trade pact that included a dozen countries, designed to strengthen economic ties and counter China's influence. But in one of his first big moves, Trump stomped out of the TPP, calling it a bad deal. Did he replace it with something better? Not exactly. Instead, chaos ensued, leaving allies wondering what America's strategy even was. Canada, usually America's quiet, maple syrup-loving neighbor, caught some of the worst fallout. Trump, claiming the US was getting ripped off, slapped tariffs on Canadian steel and aluminum. That wasn't just an economic hit. It felt like a betrayal. Canada stepped up to defend its industries, but the damage was already done. They even imposed retaliatory tariffs on American goods, from ketchup to coffee, sending a clear message: friendship has limits. Meanwhile, Australia, America's so-called #1 ally in the Pacific, felt equally blindsided. Australia's trade minister didn't hold back, calling Trump's policies economic self-harm. Imagine being at a barbecue with your best friend, and they suddenly toss your steak into the fire. Yeah, it was like that. Then there was Trump's spectacularly messy attempt to negotiate with Japan. After pulling out of the TPP, Trump tried to cobble together a side deal with Tokyo, focusing on agricultural exports. But the deal, signed in 2020, left Japan's biggest worry, auto tariffs, completely unresolved. It was barely a band-aid, not the big win Trump bragged about. All the while, Japanese officials kept their composure, but let's be real, they were probably thinking, why did we show up for this? To make things worse, even Trump's own team added to the confusion. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent accused the EU of having a collective action problem. But honestly, it looked like the US was grappling with one of its own. With inconsistent messaging and broken promises, allies began doubting whether America could be trusted at all. Trump's art of the deal? More like the art of alienation. So what's the big takeaway from this international smackdown? Let's wrap it up. Trump's tariffs didn't just hurt international relationships, they united the world against him. Countries like Japan, India, and even close allies such as Canada and Australia found themselves banding together to counter his chaotic, often one-sided trade policies. Instead of flexing American strength, this approach isolated the US and left its trustworthiness in question. Leadership in global trade isn't about slapping tariffs like stickers on a fridge. It's about building cooperation. So here's the takeaway. A strong leader doesn't bully. They build trust. Trump's tactics might just prove how fragile that trust really is when mishandled. Something to think about.